Hello, I'm Amelia. I'm a 39-year-old woman. I have a wonderful 17-year-old daughter named Freya from my previous marriage. Freya is an important part of my life. I only did things that I knew weren't hurting Freya. This incident crossed that line, and I need to share my crazy story with you. So let's dive in. A few years ago, I met Troy, the man I thought was my soulmate. From the moment I met Troy, I felt like he was the missing puzzle piece in my life. We met at a party through mutual friends, and there was an instant connection. He had a charming smile and made me feel special. As we spent more time together, our bond grew stronger. We shared laughs, dreams, and deep conversations. Troy was a great listener, and he understood me in a way no one else did. He made me feel seen and loved. After a while, Troy and I decided to take our relationship to the next level. We got married and started our lives as a couple. It was exciting and filled with hope for a beautiful future together. At first, everything seemed perfect. Troy treated me with kindness and affection. He would surprise me with little gestures of love, like leaving sweet notes or cooking my favorite meals. We enjoyed spending quality time together, going on dates and exploring new places. It felt like a fairy tale come true. As for Troy's relationship with my daughter Freya, it blossomed into something beautiful. They clicked right from the start, like they had known each other forever. Freya was only 14 at the time, and having Troy in her life as a stepfather brought her a sense of stability and happiness. Troy embraced his role as a father figure to Freya. He supported her dreams, encouraged her talents, and attended her school events. They shared many interests and hobbies, often spending time together playing sports or watching movies. Freya found a best friend and confidant in Troy, someone she could rely on and trust. Our relationship with Troy was wonderful for the first 2 years of our marriage. We felt like a real family, united by love and understanding. I couldn't have asked for a better husband or stepfather for Freya. However, things started to change between us. Troy became distant and cold. He started spending long hours at work and seemed preoccupied. The warmth and affection he once showed me began to fade away. It felt like he had built a wall between us. His behavior didn't just change towards me. It also affected his relationship with my daughter, Freya. They had been so close, like best friends, but now Troy seemed disinterested in spending time with her. Freya was left feeling confused and hurt. Our home, once filled with laughter and joy, became tense and filled with arguments. We would fight about his changed behavior, but Troy wouldn't budge. I desperately tried to understand what was happening, hoping to find a way to fix our relationship, but it seemed like Troy had closed himself off completely. "Babe, please, we need to talk. I can't bear the distance between us anymore. What's wrong? What happened to us?" "There's nothing wrong, Amelia. Stop overreacting. I'm just busy with work, that's all." "It's more than that. We used to be so close, and now it feels like we're strangers. I miss the connection we had. Please let me in. Tell me what's going on." "Look, it's nothing, okay? I'm just dealing with some stuff. You don't need to worry about it." "But I do worry, babe. We're supposed to be partners, sharing our lives. We should be able to lean on each other when things get tough. It hurts when you shut me out like this." "I said it's nothing. Can't you just drop it?" "It's not just about us. You've been treating Freya differently too. She's noticed it, and it's breaking her heart. We used to be a family, and now it feels like we're falling apart." "That's ridiculous. I treat Freya the same way I always have. Stop trying to find problems where there aren't any." "Babe, please listen. We can't keep avoiding these issues. I love you, and I want us to find our way back to each other. But we can't do that if you won't open up and communicate with me. We need honesty and understanding. I don't have time for this. You're blowing everything out of proportion. Just leave me alone. Leaving you alone isn't going to solve anything. Ignoring our problems won't make them disappear. I want us to be happy again, but I can't do it alone. Please, let's find a way to talk and work through this. Isn't our relationship worth fighting for? I don't have time for this. I'm going to bed. Good night. Almost every day we would have the same conversation over and over again. I kept trying to figure out what was bothering him, but he always dismissed me and all of my concerns. Freya tried talking to him too, but Troy evaded her altogether. It was getting harder to live in our house. The constant fighting and the silent treatment from Troy was a great source of anxiety for both Freya and me. One day, during a heated argument, Troy left me mid-argument and ran to our bedroom. I followed him in, only to see him frantically searching through one of our drawers. I asked him what he was searching for, but all I got was silence. Eventually, he pulled out a file and handed it to me. I don't understand. What is this, babe? Why are you handing me divorce papers? I have had more than enough, Amelia. I can't do this anymore. But why? I've been working so hard on our relationship. I have literally been begging you to open up and talk to me. Hell, I even suggested getting you a therapist. What is going on? I will not accept these. You better give me a damn good reason, Troy. A reason? You want a reason? Fine, I'll give you my reason. The other day, while I was clearing out our office, I happened to stumble across a copy of your parents' wills. What does that have to do with anything? Oh, it has everything to do with this. The amount they intend to leave you with is practically nothing. So what? I'm still not getting it. What does this have to do with us? I only married you because I thought you were secretly loaded. I mean, when I met your parents for the first time, I was greeted by a huge mansion. They were literally living in the lap of luxury and I wanted in. They're not filthy rich, Troy. I told you they lived pretty comfortable lives. I never lied about it. I thought you loved me for who I am, not for any money. It's not just about the money, Amelia. It's about feeling like I was misled and that our future wasn't what I had imagined. I thought you were simply downplaying your family wealth. I didn't think you meant it. God, and to think I wasted 2 years of my life for nothing. You wasted 2 years? What about me? What about Freya? Why did you do this to us, Troy? Why? Look, it's nothing personal against you. I just wanted an easier life and I thought this would be it. I see this won't happen, so let's just go our separate ways, huh? Troy's desire for a divorce stemmed from his belief that he had married me for money. And when that expectation wasn't met, he felt like our relationship had been built on pretenses. It was a difficult revelation to process. I had hoped that our love and connection went beyond material wealth. I believed that Troy loved me for who I was, not for any financial gains. However, his actions made it clear that he had placed importance on money rather than genuine love and companionship. It was devastating to realize that the person I had married had been motivated by shallow desires instead of building a lasting and meaningful relationship. I never realized that the foundation of our marriage could be built on such shallow grounds. It was devastating to realize that Troy had been motivated by money rather than genuine love and companionship. With a heavy heart, I made the difficult decision to sign the divorce papers and leave our shared apartment with Freya. In the end, I knew I deserved a partner who valued me for who I am, not for any perceived financial benefits. It was essential for both of our well-being to start fresh and rebuild our lives away from the pain and disappointment. Freya, my incredible daughter, became my rock during this challenging time. Together we embarked on a new chapter, determined to create a better future for ourselves. Troy's departure had left a void in our lives, but we knew we deserved better. We focused on healing and finding happiness within ourselves. I can't believe what Troy did to us. It hurts so much to think that he left because of something as shallow as money. I know, sweetheart. It's hard to understand why someone would betray us like that. But we have each other, and we'll get through this together. I'm just glad we have each other, Mom. You're the strongest person I know, and I'm grateful to have you by my side. And you, my love, have been my rock through all of this. Your strength and resilience inspire me every day. We deserve so much better than someone who only values material things. Absolutely, we deserve genuine love and happiness. We won't let Troy's actions define us. We'll heal, grow stronger, and create a better future for ourselves. That's right, my beautiful girl. We'll support each other, lift each other up, and find happiness within ourselves. Together, we can overcome anything. I love you, Mom. I love you too, Freya. We'll always be there for each other no matter what. Now, let me tell you about Freya. She's a talented dancer and has a small following on TikTok. In her videos, she would dance along to the latest trending songs. One day, my daughter, Freya, decided to share her story on TikTok through a video. In this video, she bravely opened up about her stepfather, Troy, leaving us because of my inheritance. I was amazed by her courage and proud of her for using her platform to speak her truth. In the TikTok video, Freya shared how Troy had thought my parents' inheritance would be a significant amount of money. She talked about how he had believed we were wealthy based on our family's house and lifestyle. But when he discovered that the inheritance wasn't as large as he expected, he felt deceived and decided to leave us. Little did we know Freya's video would go viral. It touched the hearts of so many people who could relate to pain of betrayal and the importance of standing up for oneself. Millions of viewers poured in with their comments, showing support, empathy, and admiration for Freya's courage. The comment section was flooded with messages of encouragement, virtual hugs, and words of empowerment. People shared their own stories of resilience, offering kind words and advice. It was heartwarming to see how the video resonated with others and sparked a sense of unity. Many viewers asked for updates and expressed their genuine concern for our well-being. They wanted to know if we were okay, if we had found a safe place to live, and how we were coping. Freya's video touched the lives of so many, and the outpouring of support was overwhelming in the best possible way. Encouraged by the positive response, Freya decided to share another video, this time giving a tour of our new home. She revealed that although my parents hadn't left us a significant amount of money, they had thought ahead and purchased properties in my name. This meant that we were not only safe and secure, but also had a place to call our own. The video showcased our new home, a space that we filled with love and hope. Freya emphasized that despite the financial challenges we faced, we were resilient and determined to build a brighter future together. She thanked her followers for their support, reminding them that material wealth doesn't define happiness or the strength of a family. The reactions to Freya's new home tour were incredible. Millions of comments poured in, expressing awe and admiration for our resilience and determination. People commended us for our courage, shared their own stories of overcoming adversity, and expressed gratitude for the reminder that love and support are invaluable. And guess what happened next? Troy saw that video and came back into our lives, accusing me of being a liar. Can you believe it? So, it turns out you were hiding money from me all along. How could you do this to me, Amelia? You robbed me of a good life, of the wealth I thought we had. Troy, I cannot believe you're accusing me of being a liar after everything you've put us through. I never hid anything from you. My parents had bought properties in my name, but it was never meant to deceive you. You're just trying to cover up the truth now. You made me believe we would have a life of luxury, and instead, you kept everything for yourself. That's not true. The properties were never meant to be extravagant assets. They were investments made by my parents to ensure our future security. It wasn't about hiding money from us. It was about taking care of our family. I can't believe you're twisting the facts to suit your narrative. You're a liar, Amelia. You betrayed me, and I won't stand for it. I've had enough. I won't let you come into our lives and hurl hurtful accusations at me. You've caused enough pain already. I'm going to need you to leave my property. Fine, but remember this. You can't hide the truth forever. I won't let you get away with this. Troy, it's time for you to go. Our relationship is over, and I won't tolerate any more of your stupid accusations. Please respect our boundaries and leave. We'll see about that, Amelia. This isn't over. Sure. Goodbye. As soon as I opened the door, revealing Troy standing there, Freya instinctively grabbed her phone and started recording the interaction. She knew how important it was to document what was happening. After Troy left, Freya showed me the video, her eyes filled with concern and anger. My emotions ranged from anger to disbelief. I couldn't fathom how he had the audacity to call me a liar after the pain he put us through. After shutting the door, I spun around and saw Freya. Can you believe that jerk's audacity? Oh, I was so close to punching him. If another word had left his mouth, he would have tasted my fists. I would have loved to see that. In fact, I would have joined you. I nearly tackled him when he called you a liar. I guess you can't change some people. Also, I don't think violence would have helped us. It would have worked if only one of us hit him. The other one would need to record it. That's right, sweetheart. It would have been pretty funny to watch that back. Well, there was no violence, but I still have the video. What do you mean? Seeing him at our doorstep immediately made me want to record whatever he was going to say, so I did. What do you want me to do with it? Honestly, I don't care. Do whatever you want with it. I'm way too tired to care about someone like him. At that moment, consumed by a mix of rage and a desperate need for revenge, I made a decision that I can't take back. I told Freya that she was free to do whatever she wanted with that video. If she thought it would bring some justice and shed light on Troy's true character, then I supported her. Freya uploaded the video to TikTok, where it quickly gained attention. People were shocked by Troy's behavior and the pain he had caused us. The video spread like wildfire, reaching thousands of viewers who couldn't believe what they were seeing. As the video circulated, some of the viewers took matters into their own hands and contacted Troy's employers. They reached out to them, expressing their concerns about his actions and the way he treated us. The surge of complaints, combined with the damning evidence in the video, led his employers to make a tough decision. They let him go, leaving him with no income for the foreseeable future. Then, the text from Troy came, filled with anger and frustration. He couldn't believe what had happened and blamed both me and Freya for his job loss. The text was laced with insults and threats, trying to shift the blame onto us. He continued to call me a cunning liar and blame me for his loss of a chance to live an easy life. Receiving that text stirred up a whirlwind of emotions within me. Anger, yes, for the way he had treated us and the pain he had caused, but also a sense of relief that his true character had been exposed, and the others were finally seeing the reality of our situation. Mixed with the relief was a tinge of guilt. I questioned whether I had taken things too far in my quest for revenge. The consequences were severe, and I couldn't help but wonder if there might have been a better way to handle the situation. But deep down, I knew that what had happened was a result of Troy's actions, not ours. We had been victims of his deceit and betrayal. The emotions were complicated, a blend of vindication and remorse, but ultimately, I knew that our well-being and safety mattered more than anything else. Every fiber in my being wanted to respond back to him. I wanted to tell him that he was acting like the biggest fool that there ever was. I wanted to lash out at him and put him in his place. However, I also knew that he was simply projecting his insecurities onto me. I was not responsible for his decisions and behaviors. I decided to instead block and blacklist his number. I blocked him on every social media platform too. I tried to focus on healing and moving forward. I hoped that one day the pain would fade away and that we could rebuild our lives without the lingering shadow of Troy's actions. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but together, Freya and I would find strength in each other and the support we received from those who had seen the truth. So that's where we stand. I'm focusing on rebuilding my life, surrounded by the love and support of my amazing daughter, Freya. As for Troy, well, he signed himself up for karma, and I believe it has caught up with him ever so wonderfully. Hello guys, I'm Lila, and I'm only an 18-year-old girl. No, I'm not married, and this is not a story about my mother-in-law or something. But this is a story about my grandma, Harriet, who was a nightmare mother-in-law to my mom, Elsie. Why am I telling this story? Because she tried to use me to separate my parents. Harriet is my dad, Gabriel's mother. She is a super psycho woman who has made my mom's life a living hell. She used to live with my parents until my dad was forced to kick her out. I didn't even see her until I was 12. They simply didn't trust her around me. Why? Well, she tried to convince my dad that I wasn't his child, that mom cheated and baby-trapped him with someone else's child. When I was a little over 12 years old, I started to become interested in meeting Harriet. She had gotten in contact with me in some way and was pestering me for regular visits. A lot of my friends had good relationships with their grandparents, and I wanted that as well. Mom's parents were long dead, so there was only Harriet left. I begged my parents to have a relationship with Harriet. I said, "Mom, Dad, please let me have a relationship with Grandma. I want to see if we can have a good relationship. Most of my friends have grandparents. I feel left out." "Lila, it's not that easy, dear. Harriet has already hurt us in more ways than one. You already know why we have limited contact with her. You do realize that she tried to take your dad away from me and you." "I know that, Mom. You guys have already told me everything. Look, I know she has been horrible to you, but she has changed. She has even apologized for the incident." "She has only apologized to you, Lila. Mom should have apologized to Elsie first. She still hates your mom, dear. Even after I give her so much money, she insults Elsie and tells me to leave her. I'm afraid she is trying to manipulate you. I don't think you should have a relationship with her." I begged and pleaded with my parents for days. In the end, my mom felt guilty for coming between me and my grandma. Meanwhile, Harriet was pestering Dad and trying to make him feel guilty for keeping me away. So my parents were kind of forced to let us keep in contact. After that, I used to frequently hang out with her. She was attentive to me, and I felt like I finally knew about my grandparents' love. I did love her too, but still managed to notice some red flags about her. When my mom went to drop me off at Harriet's house, they had a small conversation. I was already inside the house when they talked, but I could very clearly hear their conversations. Mom said, "Harriet, I understand that we have our differences, but let's not make Lila suffer for that. I know that my daughter wants to stay connected to you, so I have allowed this to happen. Please don't do anything to break our trust." "You must be so pissed, Elsie. You can see that I am starting to win. I already took away your daughter. I will take away Gabriel as well. Once I have them both, you will lose. I know you are still planning to send me away from your lives. But hear this out, Harriet. Gabriel will never leave me for you. And we won't let you get off easy if you try to use my daughter against us. We will see just how loyal your daughter will be to you. Time will tell. Consider this a little warning." Saying this, Harriet just closed the door in my mom's face. I was stunned, but kept my mouth shut. I slowly went to the living room and pretended not to hear anything. I didn't speak up, guys. I know it was wrong. I thought Harriet loved me and I didn't want to lose her, so I never told Dad about the conversation, and neither did Mom. Harriet never stopped showing her hatred towards Mom. Grandma used to berate Mom in front of me when I was with her. She always said, "Your mother is a useless woman, Lila. I'm glad you didn't turn out to be like her. She took your dad away from me. I will never forgive her." "Grandma, Mom is not like that. Dad still visits you and takes care of you. Mom never stopped him." "My son would never abandon me. Your mom has used some dirty tricks to make him stay away, but this time she will pay. I will have my son back." "Grandma, I don't like you talking about Mom like that. What happened was between you three. She is a good mom to me, so please don't say these things to me." Harriet never stopped, even after I repeatedly told her to. She continued to demonize my mom and try to make me agree with her. She even said that she and Dad would be very happy without my mom in the picture. For years, I listened to her berate my mom. I was young and dumb and didn't want to lose my grandma, so I never revealed those conversations to anyone. I tried to defend my mom, but was scared that Grandma would hate me. The stupid girl I was, I continued to fawn over my grandma until I was 18. A single incident and it all came crashing down. It would destroy my relationship with Harriet for good. One day, when I was visiting Grandma, I made the mistake of venting about my college education. I was nervous to ask my parents for help, but also dreaded student loans at the same time. I didn't want to stress my parents, so I decided to vent to Grandma instead. I said, "Grandma, I will have to apply to college pretty soon. I have no idea how I will manage to arrange the money for my college fund. I'm scared to ask my parents. I hope I land a good scholarship with my grades." "You know what, Lila? I'm thinking about paying for your college." "Really, Grandma? You would do that for me? But where will you get the money?" "I have a lot of money saved from your father's allowance. He does send me a lot of money. I'll give you all of it. But you need to do something for me. You have to make Gabriel divorce Elsie." "What are you talking about, Grandma? Do you want me to make my parents divorce each other? Are you serious?" "I am dead serious, girl. If you do it, I will give you money for college, a total of $13,000. All for you. I even have a plan ready. You just have to agree to it." "You are going to pay me to make my parents get a divorce? You have to be kidding me. This can't be real." "I will give you half of my money right now. You can have the rest later. I just need your word that you will do your best to make it happen." I didn't think she was serious. I mean, it had to be a joke. Honestly speaking, I have heard stories about this happening, but I never thought they could get real. Hell, I didn't think Harriet was capable of it. Boy, was I wrong. Sitting in my account was $65,000 that Harriet sent me the next day. I was dumbstruck by the freaking audacity of Harriet. Right then, I received a call from her. Thankfully, I decided to record the call. She said, "So, I think you have already received the half I promised. I have more, you know. You will get another 65,000 if you agree to my conditions. Once your mother is out of the picture, I will convince Gabriel to give you some more. His money will be my money anyway. That way, we will continue profiting from each other." "Fine then, I will do it. But it will be difficult to convince Dad to divorce Mom. He does love her a lot." "I know that, girl. Your witch of a mom had the power to take him away from me. I will never forget that. Now we will see who wins. Don't worry, I'll hire someone to play her affair partner. You just have to show Gabriel some screenshots and pictures." "Wait, you will hire someone to be my mom's affair partner? She'll never do something wrong. I can guarantee you that." "Pictures can be edited, Lila. It won't be very difficult. Money can make people do things. If you don't want to join me, I will think of something else." "No, that's fine. I'll do it. You're giving me a lot of money anyway." After that, Harriet told me about her grand plan and revealed everything to me. Her poor health. Yeah, she faked a heart attack. She had been setting this up for months. Harriet had everything lined up down to the fine details. She only needed to reveal the affair and convince Dad to divorce Mom. If I hadn't agreed, I would have never found out about her schemes. So I joined hands with her. But Harriet had no idea what was coming. For weeks, I met with the hired guy to arrange all the details. Harriet was adamant that nothing could go wrong. I was clever enough to take pictures and recordings of all interactions. Harriet didn't know because, well, I do know ways to fool her. I collected all the evidence and went straight to my parents. I sat them down and said, "Mom, Dad, there's something I need to tell you guys. It's about Grandma." "What is it, Lila? Is she sick again? Tell me now. I'm getting worried." "No, Dad, she's not sick. She never actually has been sick. She's faking everything." "What? How can you accuse your grandma of such things? This is ridiculous." "Stop being mad at Lila, Gabriel. Your mother had pulled this shit before. Why are you even surprised? Lila, tell us everything." "She wanted to get back into our lives, so she faked a heart attack. She accepted it herself, and she just paid me a lot of money to make you two get a divorce." My parents looked shocked by what I said. I could see why they were so taken aback by it. I had just dropped 2 nuclear bombs on them. They were silent for a while and looked at each other. Then I went ahead and explained everything to them. I also gave them the proof I had. By the time I was done, both of my parents were super pissed. Mom said, "What the freaking hell? This stupid woman is still after me? After all these years, she has not given up. This is ridiculous. She's out for my reputation and my marriage." I had no idea my mom was capable of this shit. I shouldn't have let her back into our lives. Hell, I took care of her for years, and now she does this to me and Elsie? She had been planning everything for a while, Dad. I couldn't record all of her conversations. You saw the texts and what they said. She's adamant that she wants Mom out of the picture. Gabriel, your mom tried to weaponize my child against me. Harriet is a freaking witch. All these acts of being a loving grandparent were just for show. She only wanted to use me for her plans. I can see that now. I wanted to let you guys know so that she can't create any misunderstanding with or without me. Thank you for telling us, Lila. Don't worry. We won't let her use you against us, and there is no way we're getting a divorce. Whatever Mom has in mind won't work. You don't have to worry about it. My parents told me to act like everything is fine, so I let Harriet transfer me the proof that she had manufactured about my mom's cheating. Dad and Mom looked over everything and made their plans with me. Then we waited for their anniversary to come. Harriet was excited because I told her that Dad was getting ready to file for divorce. I said, "Hey, Grandma, you know what? Your plan worked. I showed Dad all the proof and convinced him to divorce Mom. Dad is talking to a lawyer. He would be serving her papers on their anniversary. He's having a smaller party so that he doesn't spend too much on Mom. Mom doesn't know a thing." Oh my God, that is wonderful news, Lila. I knew keeping you around would be worth it. You are such a good girl. I'll send over the rest of the money today. Good job, kid. Thank you, Grandma. You might want to come and invite some friends to watch the show. It'll be amazing. Dad won't mind having a few of your friends over. Harriet gleefully hung up on me and started to call her friends. She asked Dad if she could invite them, and he said yes. Harriet even sent me the rest of the money later. Me, Mom, and Dad were all pretty surprised by her stupidity. She thought she was clever, but she had no idea who she was up against. We were going to end her drama once and for all. My parents' anniversary was supposed to be a grand celebration. Instead, they opted for a small one this year. I convinced Harriet that Dad planned a small party to save money. She took that as the truth. The truth was that Dad didn't want his entire friend circle to see the drama. Instead, he called our extended family and Harriet's friends, people who needed to know what a snake Harriet was. When everyone arrived, I got everyone's attention to give a speech. I stood up and said, "Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my parents' anniversary. I'm so happy to have such wonderful parents and thought I should speak some words about them. You know how much parents are still in love? It just makes my heart melt, but there has been someone who has a problem with their love and marriage. As you all know, it's none other than my dear Grandma Harriet." "What are you saying, Lila? Why would you say things like that about your grandma?" Guys, are you wondering why I would say something like that? Well, Harriet here had tried to bribe me into making my dad divorce my mom. Yes, that's completely true. She promised me money for college if I make my dad divorce my mom. She even sent me in advance to lure me into her plans. "Gabriel, look at what your worthless daughter is saying. Guys, this is all her and Elsie's plan. They want me out of your life, so they're using dirty tricks now. You shouldn't believe them." "But I have proof, Harriet. I have both your blood and Mom's. I know exactly how to deal with people who want to take advantage of me." Guys, you would be shocked to see what Grandma had arranged. Do you want to see what it was? Here it is. I quickly started to play our recorded calls quite loudly on the little microphone I got. Yes, the ones that they use for ASMRs. When I played the whole recording, the look on people's faces was glorious. My parents, of course, didn't react because they knew. Meanwhile, Harriet was slowly getting pale and started to sweat. I could see that her hands were shaking. Everyone in the family and even her friends were giving her nasty looks. When the recording ended, she said, "These are all fake. You and Elsie are trying to trap me and ruin my reputation. You two hate me and want me gone. Don't put your wildest dreams on me and my daughter, Harriet. Everything you have said is exactly what you wanted to do to me. We have more proof, including the guy you hired to play my affair partner. You have stooped low, Harriet. Even I am embarrassed for you." "Gabriel, why are you not saying anything? You can't just let your daughter and wife insult me like that. Say something, son, please." "I don't know what to say, Mom. I'm ashamed to call you my mom. For years, I ignored my wife's feelings and kept in touch with you. I took over all your responsibility. And now, this is how you reward me? You can't believe their lies, Gabriel. I know how much you love Elsie. Why would I do this to you? Exactly, Mom. You knew how much I love Elsie, but you never wanted her around. You wanted to have sole control over me and my money. You have tried to break us up before. I can't believe you tried to use Lila for your gains. I have done enough for you, but no more. From today onwards, we will go no contact with you, and I am going to stop paying for everything. You can go figure out your life yourself. I'm going to protect my wife and daughter from your toxic behavior. Harriet heard this and started to bawl in front of everyone. No one reached out to help her or comfort her. They didn't want to be near her. Everyone sympathizes with us while criticizing Harriet. Even people on Harriet's side didn't support her. It was glorious, actually. Harriet sobbed and begged for forgiveness while everyone else just ignored her. After a while, Dad told her to get out of our property before he called the police. That made her leave out of fear. We apologized to our guests for making them witness everything. However, they understood our situation and were glad to know how toxic Harriet can be. We later invited them to a bigger party that was happening within a few hours in a different venue. Overall, my parents had a great time, and so did I. Harriet kept blowing up our phones, but we didn't care. Her texts to me ranged from anger at exposing her to begging to make Dad forgive her. I ignored her and went about my way. The real fun happened the next day when Grandma asked for the money back. Harriet said, "Since you've decided to betray me, I have no use for you anymore. Don't even think about coming near my house again." Don't worry, Harriet. In this life, I will never make the stupid decision of being around you again. You don't have to worry about that. And I want my money back. I don't care how you go to college. You are no one to me. You need to give me back the money I sent. What money? What you gave me was a gift. I already gave it away to charity. I did that the very next day. As for my college, my parents already have a fund saved for me. You lied to me to make me do your dirty work. I know the truth now. What the hell? I will sue you for the money. Just wait and watch. Sure, Harriet. I would love to see how you win this case. This will be hilarious. Go ahead and do your best. But remember, Dad won't be supporting you financially anymore. You better check your finances before hiring a lawyer. Harriet started to call me some colorful names before I hung up on her. She kept calling me, but I blocked her number. Harriet tried her best to make Dad speak to her again. She refused to apologize for her behavior and only acted in an entitled way. So my dad and Mom blocked her as well. Dad was adamant about not supporting Harriet anymore. Surprisingly, even the extended family understood the situation and agreed with his decision. Harriet did show up to the house to scream at Mom and me, but Dad called the police on her, who came and warned her away. Now, Harriet was forced to move near her older sister, who was making her work at a grocery store. The sister gives us information about her because she is on our side. Meanwhile, my parents are finally living a peaceful life without the constant fights about Harriet. I have got accepted into a great university on a full scholarship. Life is good, and I can tell everyone the hilarious story about my grandma. Hi there, I'm Tawny, and I'm 23, she, her. Let me tell you about my complicated relationship with my dad, Ivan. So I have some serious daddy issues. I mean, who doesn't? This is, of course, due to the toxic behavior of my dad because he wasn't exactly the best father figure. As far back as I can remember, it was like our household was constantly walking on eggshells. My mom, Betty, and I had to endure emotional and verbal abuse from him, and it was just so messed up. I don't know why he was so awful back then, but as I grew up, I couldn't help but resent him more and more. I mean, come on. A daughter should feel safe and loved around her dad, right? But instead, I found myself rebelling against him. I'd argue with him even when my mom, who is the sweetest person you'll ever meet, couldn't say a word to him. Our arguments would escalate into screaming matches, and it got so bad that our neighbors started calling the police on us several times. Can you imagine how toxic that was? It was like living in a war zone. I just couldn't stand how he treated us and how he made my mom cry all the time. As I got older, I became more vocal about my feelings and called him out on his behavior, but it was like talking to a brick wall. He never listened or tried to change. It was frustrating and heartbreaking at the same time. I remember the first real time I stood up to him. I was only 12. Dad, I can't take this anymore. The way you treat us is just so wrong. What are you talking about, Tawny? I provide for this family and this is how you talk to me? It's not just about providing for us, Dad. You're always yelling at Mom and me for no reason. You call us names and make us feel worthless. Tawny, please don't argue with your father. Let's just calm down. No, Mom, I won't stay quiet anymore. He can't treat us like this. Oh, listen to Miss Perfect here, acting like she knows it all. You don't seem to understand that we have to treat each other with respect and kindness. I never claimed to be perfect. Tawny, please, let's not fight. Mom, you deserve better. We both do. You shouldn't have to put up with his constant anger and criticism. You think you know everything, huh? You're just a kid. I may be a kid, but that doesn't mean I can't see what's happening. You've been hurting us for years, and it's not right. Tawny, please stop. Let's just try to get along. No, Mom. I won't stay silent anymore. We need to stand up for ourselves. You will not talk back to me like that. I won't be silenced. We deserve to be treated with love and respect, not fear. That's it. Go to your room now. Fine, but I won't back down. We need to change, Dad, or I won't be a part of this toxic environment anymore. Despite all the pain and anger, there was still a part of me that yearned for a loving and supportive father figure. I wanted to have those special daddy-daughter moments that I saw in movies or with my friends. But with Ivan, it felt like an impossible dream. I remember another time when he punched me. I was 14. Dad, is that you? Are you drunk again? It's the middle of the night. Don't you have work tomorrow? Mind your own business, brat. I don't need you watching over me. Watching over you? I'm worried sick about you. Do you even realize how your drinking affects our family? Oh, here we go again. The little princess thinks she's so much better than me. It's not about being better, Dad. It's about you putting yourself in danger and hurting us in the process. Mom's always terrified when you come home like this. Mom's always terrified. Wow, poor Mommy. Terrified, huh? She's a grown woman. She can handle herself. It's you I gotta take care of. You're missing the point. She shouldn't have to handle this. It's funny, you know, how I have to take care of a grown man because he's just a man-child. Watch your tone, young lady. You don't know anything about life. I may not know everything, but I know this isn't right. You're hurting yourself and hurting us too. You think you can lecture me, huh? You're just a spoiled brat. I'm not a spoiled brat, Dad. I'm your daughter, and I deserve to have a father who cares about us and doesn't put us through this pain. You better watch yourself or you'll regret it. I won't back down, Dad. You need help, and I won't stop until you get it. We all need a better life than this. That's when he lunged forward and punched me square in the face. I immediately felt the blood pouring out of my nose. Even though I was in pain, I stood my ground. Just go away, Tawny. You don't understand anything." "No, Dad, you don't understand. You're not alone in this, but you need to face your problems instead of drowning them in alcohol. You're sick and you need help." Big yikes, am I right? Well, unfortunately, this was the norm for our family, and it sucked big time. I felt like I had to grow up quickly, which no child should do. But one day, everything changed. It was a random Sunday afternoon when I was 15 and my mom and I were playing cards on the kitchen table. Out of nowhere, there was Ivan, my father, looking all distraught, holding a duffel bag in his hand. Honestly, I didn't feel any sympathy for him at that point. I pretty much hated him by then. I didn't even call him Dad anymore. It was just Ivan. He seemed sad when he spoke, saying he had to go on a trip. I couldn't help but spit out something spiteful, telling him I didn't care where he was going. But of course, he ignored me. Mom asked when he'd be back, worried about the rent that was due soon. Ivan said he'd be back by the end of the week, but that was the last time we saw him. A week passed, then 2 weeks, and still no sign of him. The rent was due, but he wasn't answering any calls. Mom, my grandma Harper, and my granddad Frank tried everything to reach him, but nothing worked. 2 weeks turned into a month, then 2 months, 6 months, and then a whole year, and still no sign of Ivan. Mom cried a lot during that time, struggling to pay rent on her own. I felt so bad, and I hated his guts even more because of what he was doing to my poor mother. We got kicked out of our place eventually, my childhood home, and since Mom didn't have any parents, Grandma Harper and Granddad Frank were kind enough to let us stay with them. Thank God for that, am I right? At the beginning of Ivan's disappearance, my mom filed a missing persons report, but Ivan was never found. Everyone assumed he was dead, and we even had a little funeral for him, even though there was nothing to bury. It was tough for everyone, and even I found myself crying sometimes. 8 years had passed since he was last seen, and life went on without him. 8 freaking years, y'all. Life had been a roller coaster ride during that time. But you know what was amazing? My mom, Betty, finally got her groove back. It was like she was blossoming without that deadbeat dad dragging her down. After my dad disappeared, it was tough at first. My mom still held on to the hope that he was alive somewhere out there, but even if she was right, we eventually had to accept the reality that he might never come back. It was hard, especially for my mom, but slowly we picked up the pieces and moved on. She threw herself into work and started focusing on building a better life for us. She worked tirelessly to make ends meet, and I admired her resilience. She refused to let his absence define us, and let me tell you, it wasn't easy for her, but she kept pushing forward. It took some time, but she found her joy again. She started making new friends and rediscovering old hobbies. I could see her smile more often, and that made my heart happy. I was just a kid back then, but I knew she deserved all the happiness in the world. But then, life sucker punched us again. After 8 years of being without Ivan, we lost Granddad Frank, my grandma's rock, in a terrible car accident. It was like a nightmare, and we couldn't believe he was gone. That drunk driver turned our lives upside down, and we were left grappling with the pain and emptiness. Grandma Harper, well, she was hit the hardest, losing her son and her husband within such a short time. It felt like her world shattered. She was like a broken puzzle, and we didn't know how to put her back together. Mom and I tried our best to be there for her, but grief is a beast that's tough to tame. In those dark days, all we had was each other. Anyone who's organized a funeral, especially on a budget, will tell you it's a whole roller coaster of emotions. We were all dealing with Granddad Frank's funeral, trying to get everything organized while struggling with our grief. It was tough, but thank goodness for the community who stepped in to help us through it all. So picture this. The funeral was underway and we were trying our best to keep it together. You know, be strong for Mom and Grandma Harper. But then, out of nowhere, it was like I saw a ghost. Seriously, my heart stopped for a second. There, coming towards us, was none other than my long-lost, supposedly dead dad, Ivan. I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, it had been years since he vanished, and everyone assumed he was gone for good. But no, there he was, looking like a complete wreck. I honestly didn't think it was him at first. I thought it was a homeless person who maybe lost his way, but nope, it was Ivan. It was shocking to see him like that. So thin, with a dirty beard and yellow teeth. It was like looking at a total stranger. My emotions were all over the place, and before I knew it, a scream escaped from my lips. I couldn't help it, you know? It was like all those years of hurt and anger just erupted at once. And guess what? My mom and grandma saw him too, and they were just as shocked as I was. Well, let me tell you, that sight was too much for my poor mom to handle. She fainted from the shock, and I had to jump into action, trying to revive her. It was all so overwhelming. Thankfully, Grandma Harper stepped in and started fanning her, but I was left standing there, facing my dad after all those years. It was almost like I went into autopilot, though, having to be tough and stoic, just like all those years ago. I could feel the anger and confusion bubbling inside me, but I knew I had to stay strong for the sake of my family, so I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and walked up to him. It was like a mix of relief and anxiety washed over me. Part of me wanted to run away, but I knew I had to face him, confront him about everything. Ugh, it was such a mess. I couldn't believe my eyes, and all those emotions were just bubbling inside me. I took a deep breath, and with a trembling voice, I demanded answers from him. I mean, he disappeared for 8 freaking years, and now he suddenly shows up out of the blue? Like, what the hell happened? But of course, he had to be all mysterious about it. He said it was hard to explain why he was gone for so long. Hard to explain? Seriously? I was so fed up with his games. I pushed him, yelling at him, trying to get some kind of response out of him. But all he did was shrug me off and act all aloof. And you know what he said? He dared to tell me that he didn't owe me any explanation. After everything he put us through, he didn't feel like talking to me because we hated each other. Like, come on, that's not an excuse. I wasn't about to let him talk to Mom and Grandma without spilling some answers first. I told him he couldn't just waltz in and act like everything was okay. But he just brushed me off and said he was there for the funeral, as if that was all he needed to say. Ivan completely disrespected our boundaries and pranced on down to where the funeral was being held, and that's when I saw that my mom was thankfully awake again. She was sitting up on the grass, drinking water and being fanned by Grandma Harper. Things were getting tense, and the crowd of people at the funeral started whispering and looking at us. I was so embarrassed, but I tried to keep them at bay, asking them to give us some space to deal with our family drama. Thankfully, they all dispersed, with a distant cousin of ours directing them to Grandma Harper's place so that they could have some refreshments. Mom, who was always the sweetest and kindest person, looked at Ivan like she wanted to murder him. I had never seen her like that before. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Mom looked at him, her eyes full of anger and sadness all at once. She said, "It would have been better if you didn't come. Why are you here?" And you know what he said? He had the nerve to claim he heard about Granddad's passing and wanted to pay his respects. Like, seriously, after all this time? That's the best excuse he could come up with? Mom wasn't having any of it, though. She saw right through his BS and called him out on it. You know that's not true. If you cared, you would have come home 8 years ago like you promised. Hell, you could have come home literally any time before now. What the hell is wrong with you? She didn't hold back. And honestly, I was so proud of her for standing up to him. But Ivan was a mess, stammering all over his words and fidgeting like crazy. It was like he couldn't stand still. And then I noticed something off about him. He was scratching himself like crazy and his eyes seemed all distant. It hit me that he might be on drugs or something. Without hesitation, Mom asked what we were all thinking. Are you high right now? She wasn't holding back any punches, that's for sure. Ivan tried to come up with some explanations, saying a lot had happened in the past 8 years and that he got mixed up with the wrong crowd, but he assured us he was doing better now. What a load of crap. Mom chuckled bitterly and then just broke down sobbing. I wanted to hug her and tell her everything would be okay, but I was so angry at Ivan. I couldn't help myself. I started yelling at him, telling him to go back to wherever he came from because no one wanted him there. But he was trying to ignore me like he always did. But I wasn't about to let him off the hook that easily. I kept on yelling, and it seemed like I was impossible to ignore because of how loud and angry I was. Get out of here! You have no right to be here. Let Grandad rest in peace, for God's sake. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? Because you abandoned us. You left us to struggle, to deal with everything on our own. And now you dare to show up here like you're some kind of hero? You're a joke, Ivan. I had my reasons. Reasons? What reasons could justify leaving your family behind like that? We needed you, Dad. But you were too wrapped up in your messed up world to care about us. I don't have time to deal with you, kid. Step aside. Mom, look at me. Grandma Harper had been quiet this whole time. She had a blank stare and was looking off into the distance, furrowing her brows now and then. I placed my hand on her shoulder to comfort her, and she responded by sighing and leaning in, as if she was snapped back into reality. He's here for the inheritance. Mom, please look at me. Ivan, you are the scum of the earth, you know that? You're worse than the sewage. Mom, please. Tawny, please tell this man that I want nothing to do with him. I have nothing to say to him. Ooh, burn. Even his mother didn't want to claim him. I just need to get my inheritance and then leave. Those friends I told you about, well, turns out I owe them some money and... That's none of our concern, sir. Please leave. We are grieving. Come on, Mom. You're gonna act like you don't know me? Seriously? I don't know who you are. Please leave before we call the police. Mom, it's me, Ivan, your son. I don't have a son. My son died 8 years ago. I don't know who you are. I'm not messing around, Mom. And we're not messing around either, you bozo. Get away from this place. I'm not talking to you. But I'm talking to you. All my life you've ignored me, and now you're getting a taste of your own medicine. Shut up. Mom! Mom! Mom, these people don't play around, okay? Just give me the money and I'll come back, I promise. I'll explain everything, okay? I'll explain everything to all of you. Just please, give me the money. I need the money. I need the money, goddammit. I need the money. Give me the money. We all just stood there looking at him with blank expressions on our faces. Ivan's pleas were getting more desperate and louder, but it was falling on deaf ears. He even dropped to his knees in front of Grandma Harper, begging her to listen, but we didn't pay attention to his cries. I need the money, he kept repeating, as if that was supposed to justify everything he put us through. But after all those years of abandonment, His words meant nothing to me. I was done listening to his excuses. I grabbed a shovel that was nearby and I whacked him in the head with it. He was knocked out cold. "Thank you for that." "No problem." His cries were getting on my nerves. You want to know the funny thing? Since he got here, he hasn't even taken one look at his father's grave. I don't know what happened to him, but he looks awful. Now the outside is reflecting the inside. Do you think that these friends of his are going to kill him if he doesn't get their money? Probably. I mean, if he's doing drugs, he must be doing some other crazy crap that would get him killed. Do you think we should give him the money? Why don't we ask Granddad? Hey, Granddad, should we give Ivan the money? Say nothing if the answer is no. My mom and Grandma amused me, and we all intently listened for Granddad's answer. Of course, there was silence. Well, looks like we got our answer. What a sad and pathetic man. I'm glad Frank isn't here to see this. Let's go, you guys. We'll find a police officer who's patrolling the area and tell them of the hobo who was near the grave. And with that, we left Ivan there and proceeded with the funeral in our home. I don't know what happened to my dad after that, but I never saw him again. I'm sure he's dead, though, for real this time. Hi, I'm Kat, and I'm 25 years old. I just got married to my boyfriend of 2 years, Nate. We met at Walmart and bonded over some mac and cheese. He asked for my number, and I obviously said yes because who could say no to that cute face? It was a very random place where we met, but as we started talking more and going on dates, we totally fell in love. We realized how compatible we were with each other, and then Nate proposed. It was not some fancy proposal, but it was the sweetest, and I couldn't have said no. We were making a grocery run at the same Walmart, and he said he wanted to get some mac and cheese. When we were at the mac and cheese aisle, I turned around, and there was Nate on his knee with a ring in his hand. I obviously said yes. The wedding couldn't go as dreamy as the proposal went. Unfortunately, because my very own sister Clarissa was hell-bent on ruining the day for me. Let me share a bit more about Clarissa and myself. She's 1 year older than me and has always been the shining star of our family. Throughout my upbringing, my mom constantly compared me to her, pushing me to be like my older sister. It felt like a never-ending competition with Clarissa, from stacking blocks in kindergarten to vying for the prom queen title at prom. She consistently set high standards that I couldn't surpass. On the surface, she seemed better in every aspect. Better grades, being a state-level ice skater until middle school, and in high school, becoming the class president and a popular cheerleader. Everyone wanted to be her friend, and she even got accepted into an Ivy League college. Her first job after graduation was far superior to mine. Unfortunately, because my parents always boosted her ego and prioritized her, I found myself living in her shadow. I was just an average girl in school, and one incident that struck me was when I started taking cello lessons in middle school. But, as expected, Clarissa also joined in, and being the perfectionist she is, she outshone me. I eventually quit, and ever since, I have felt like I became invisible, lost in her achievements. I won't lie, I couldn't help but feel jealous of her success. I hated being her sister, but I never hated her. Clarissa has always been like this, super focused on herself and making everything about her. But to be fair, it's not all her fault. Things have been this way in our family forever. At dinner, it has always been about Clarissa and what she's up to. It's like she's the center of attention all the time. In college, I chose to study literature, pursuing my own interests and passions. Now I work for a small publishing company where my income might not be extravagant, but it's enough to sustain my lifestyle. Clarissa had already moved out and got her own apartment, while I kept jumping back and forth between Nate's apartment and my parents' place, and it was a bit embarrassing for me as I didn't have my own place. However, I was focused on saving up money so that I could eventually get my own place too. When I first started dating Nate and shared how we met with Clarissa, she started bullying me for it. Oh, only a creep who lives in his mom's basement would hit on girls like that in Walmart. Clarissa, could you not be mean for once? He is a nice guy and he is into coding for starters. He treats me well. You will know if you try to get to know him. I decided to make the announcement of Nate's proposal over dinner, so I invited Clarissa for dinner at our house. Hey, Clarissa. Hey, Kat. Come over for dinner at the house today. Mom's making your favorite key lime pie for dessert, and I have a special announcement to make. Don't tell me you're pregnant. Mom and Dad would have to take care of 2 babies then. Come on, don't be such a meanie. I'm just pulling your leg. I'll be there. When I made the announcement, everyone was happy for me and congratulated me. I told them we were getting married in 2 months, and Mom and Dad couldn't stop talking about how happy I made them with the news. Clarissa also congratulated me, but I could sense some jealousy from her, and I wasn't sure why. Is something wrong, Clarissa? Nothing really. I'm just shocked. Why would Nate marry you? I thought it was just a casual thing. He could have anyone he wanted. He's successful and handsome. Give me a break, Clarissa. It felt like maybe Clarissa didn't take the news so well because for the first time in our lives, she wasn't the center of attention. Everything wasn't about her for once. Perhaps she also didn't like the idea of me getting married before her. After all, Clarissa was still single and had trouble keeping relationships for more than 3 months. She was always the first to do things in our family, and maybe it bothered her that I was having a moment for myself with our parents. Then it was time to begin the wedding preparations, and right from the start, I made a grave mistake. Instead of choosing Clarissa as my maid of honor, I asked my best friend Haley to take on that role. I love my sister very much, but I never felt a strong connection with her. Her initial reaction to my engagement had already weirded me out, and she had been expressing doubts about the whole thing. I couldn't risk letting her have control over my wedding. Something told me she wouldn't do things right. When I told her that Haley would be my maid of honor, she didn't seem bothered at first. However, a couple of days later, Mom wanted to talk to me. I heard you asked Clarissa to just be a bridesmaid and made Haley your maid of honor instead. Well, Mom, Clarissa and I have never been that close. She doesn't know me as well, and I don't want my wedding to be anything less than perfect. I'm sure Haley would do a better job. I don't know about that, but you hurt your sister. You two are supposed to be on the same team. Mom, I just have this feeling that Clarissa isn't in favor of this wedding. Maybe she wanted to get married first, and I fear she might try to sabotage it. She's your sister. Why would she do that? I was done with the conversation, and the decision had been made. With that settled, Nate and I began the wedding preparations. For the wedding venue, we chose a charming wedding courtyard, and we went ahead and booked the place. It felt like the perfect location for our special day. After finalizing the wedding venue, I had other important tasks lined up with my friends, including Clarissa, that needed to be taken care of. We started with shopping for my wedding dress. I had created a mood board to find the perfect dress that matched my vision, and after trying out various designers and visiting different stores for a week, I finally found the dress of my dreams. Haley, Clarissa, and my mom were with me during this special moment. The wedding gown was a gift from my parents, and it was priced at a whopping $3,000. Stepping out in a beautiful white in-bold drawer mermaid gown, I instantly knew it was the one for me. As the veil was placed on my head, my mom's eyes got all teary, and it was such an emotional moment. But leave it to Clarissa to ruin it. She just had to drop that nasty comment. Sure, the gown is gorgeous, but I'm sorry I have to be honest with you. You don't have the body for it. You look fat. Haley had to swoop in and remind me not to let Clarissa's negativity bring me down, so I brushed it off, kept my cool, and bought that dress anyway. Next, we moved on to look for the bridesmaids' dresses. We decided on a beautiful coral satin dress for all the bridesmaids. However, Clarissa, in her usual controlling nature, insisted that pink wasn't her color. It was frustrating because my wedding had a specific theme, and after much bickering, we compromised and chose the closest color to coral, which was salmon. Clarissa was just being problematic and selfish at this point. Counting all the times Clarissa tried to bring me down would take forever. Those 2 months leading up to the wedding were a roller coaster of stress. Cake tasting, flower picking, seating arrangements. It was all overwhelming. Thank goodness for Nate and Haley, who were constantly supporting me and helping me out. She would constantly try to sabotage me or say hurtful things that made me question my decisions. She kept making snide remarks, trying to show me that if it were her wedding, things would be perfect and she would do it way better. I wish she could just be happy for me instead of trying to overshadow my special moment. 1 week before the wedding, Clarissa had taken some time off work and moved in with us temporarily. My parents were out running errands when Nate asked if he could come over to share something important. It was just Clarissa and me at home, and Nate had arrived, joining me in my bedroom. Nate handed me a little gift. Here's a little gift. My grandma would want you to have it. He handed me a box, and as I opened it, I found a beautiful vintage necklace inside. Oh my God, Nate, is this for me? I couldn't be more honored. I wish I could have met your grandma in person. This is so sweet. I love you, baby. I love you too. The doorbell rang, and I hurried downstairs to find the Amazon delivery guy waiting. I quickly signed for the package, taking it from him. As I made my way back up the stairs, I could hear muffled voices coming from my room. Curious, I tried to listen in without being noticed. I seriously couldn't believe it when a guy like you proposed to Kat. What do you mean? You're successful, making apps, and let's face it, you're way too good looking for someone like her. You're like out of her league. Clarissa, I think Kat is my dream girl. She's beautiful and passionate. This necklace would look better on my neck. And you know what would look better on yours? My arms instead of Kat's. Get off me! I barged into the room, and it seemed like Nate had pushed Clarissa away from him. It's not what you think, Kat. I know, Nate. I heard everything. Clarissa, can you stop acting all crazy? Are you this desperate, trying to throw yourself at my man? What's gotten into you? Try to act like an adult for once. We're not kids, and this isn't some competition. You've spent your whole life living in the spotlight, and now that I have it for once, you've gone all insane. Newsflash, the world doesn't revolve around you. I'm sorry, please don't tell Mom and Dad about this. They're going to hate me. Just get out of my sight. I'm disgusted by you right now. Clarissa left my room, and Nate tried to comfort me. I decided not to tell Mom and Dad about the incident, as I didn't want to create more drama. I was already stressed about the wedding, and adding fuel to the fire wouldn't help. I didn't even want Clarissa at the wedding anymore. I confided in Haley, and she agreed that it was best not to bring it up. Who knows what Clarissa might do next? But let me tell you, I was so mad at her. Who would stoop down that level and flirt with their sister's fiance? That was some next-level messed up stuff. She seriously needed some major help pulling off a stunt like that. I was just fuming with anger and disappointment at her. Like, why would she even go there? It was beyond me. But then, just 3 days before my wedding, I heard a knock on my door. Kat, I know my apology doesn't hold much value right now, but I'm really sorry for everything. Not just about the Nate situation, but for how I reacted to your wedding news and poked at you for the past 2 months. My jealousy got the better of me. You know, I haven't been in a stable relationship for a while, and being the older sister, I wanted to be the one getting married first. Seeing all the attention you were getting made me feel so lonely. I realize now that Nate loves you for who you are, and no one has ever seen me like that. I don't know what I was doing. I owe an apology to Nate too. I know we didn't start off on a great foot, but I really want your wedding to be perfect. You're my little baby sister after all. Oh, come here. I was taken aback by her words, and surprisingly, all the hurtful things she said and did started to fade away. I did not know what to say, so I went in for a hug, thinking it was a genuine moment of reconciliation. Little did I know she had something else in mind. We had a little bachelorette party at a cool club, followed by a rehearsal dinner the next night before the big day. I was totally shaken by how Clarissa was on her best behavior. Like, who is the new and improved version of her? It was almost like she was trying to make up for all the drama she had caused earlier. But hey, I wasn't complaining. I was just hoping she'd keep it together for the actual wedding, too. It was the day of the wedding, and things were in full swing. Hairdressers, makeup artists were buzzing around. Everyone seemed to be in a panic. My cousins, who were part of my bridesmaid squad, were already at our place. Haley and Alex, my other friend and also bridesmaid, were there too, all dolled up in their pretty salmon dresses. All the attention was on me as I got my hair and makeup done. Clarissa complimented me on how beautiful I looked. When I put on the dress, my mom and grandma couldn't stop crying, and I was just overwhelmed with emotions. We did a quick toast, but to be honest, I still had a major cold feet. Then came the first look with Nate, and we both turned into a puddle of tears. After that, the photo frenzy began, capturing all those moments before the moment. Walking down the aisle, holding my bouquet, I started the walk with my dad, followed by my awesome bridesmaids. The ceremony was beautiful, and finally, Nate and I were officially husband and wife. The evening was a blast with music, food, and endless chatter. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. Nate and I were mingling with the guests. We were on cloud 9, taking care of the guests and eagerly waiting for our wedding cake to be brought in. But then, out of freaking nowhere, I spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Max, my ex-boyfriend from college. What the actual hell was he doing here? I was shaken to my core when I saw Clarissa holding Max's hand as they swaggered over to me. Like, what on earth is happening right now? This was some next-level drama I did not sign up for. Max, what are you doing here? Max was clearly wasted, and all those memories of our college days came rushing back. Ugh, he was into partying, drugs, and just being a total mess. No wonder we broke up. Congratulations, kitty cat. Who invited you? Seriously? He's my +1. Are you kidding me? Why would you do this? Oh my God, Clarissa, you're driving me insane. Who's this dude? Well, Kitty Cat and I share some history together. They sure do. My blood was boiling with fury. I had never hated Clarissa more than at that moment. I couldn't believe she would do something so selfish and disrespectful. I felt terrible for Nate. He looked totally weirded out by Max's presence, and who wouldn't be? But just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, disaster struck. The freaking champagne glass was hit with a silver spoon, and that dreaded ting, ting, ting sound filled the air. It was time for the speeches. And of course, Clarissa, not missing the opportunity to steal the spotlight, dropped Max's hand and rushed to the front, snatching the microphone from Haley. I couldn't even believe my eyes at that point. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and she was turning it into a total nightmare. I didn't know whether to scream, cry, or do both. I just wanted this whole circus to end. All right, everybody, gather round. Let's have some fun. So here we are at Kat's wedding, and let me just say, it's been a roller coaster of emotions for me. Let's talk about the groom, Nate, over here. You know, No, Nate, you're supposed to be the groom, but honestly, I've seen more enthusiasm from a sloth on a lazy Sunday afternoon. I mean, I get it, one wouldn't be as stoked to marry my sister, but Nate, how hard is it to keep up appearances? Well, let us move on to the bride over here, Kat. What can I say about her? She is a nobody. She has always tried to be me. I mean, I would not even know how it feels to be her, poor thing. But come on, let's be real. I'm the prettier and smarter sister. That's why we have Max here, Kat's ex-boyfriend, as my +1. I wouldn't be surprised if Nate hits on me sometime later. Haley quickly took the mic away from Clarissa, trying to divert the guests' attention by announcing that the cake had arrived. My tears were streaming down my face and I just couldn't go on with the evening. Nate was being super supportive, trying to comfort me while all this drama unfolded. And just when they brought out the cake, Clarissa went and pushed it like a total wrecking ball and it fell flat on the floor. I couldn't contain my anger anymore and it all just spilled out. Just leave, Clarissa. I don't want you here. I don't want to see your face ever again. My voice was shaking with frustration and hurt, and I knew I should have been stronger, but I was going through a mental breakdown. Clarissa looked stunned, and for a moment, her drunken bravado faded away. It was clear that my words had hit her hard, and I could see a flicker of remorse in her eyes, but it was too late. The damage was done, and I couldn't take back what I had said. The pain and anger were still there, bubbling inside me like a volcano. Haley, Alex, can you please escort Clarissa out of here? And so they did. With Clarissa gone, Nate took over the mic. Hey everyone, I just want to thank you all for being here and celebrating this special day with us. I know things got a bit heated, but let's not let that overshadow the evening that lies ahead of us. And to my wife, Kat, I love you with all my heart, and I promise to be there for you, to support you and to love you unconditionally through all the ups and downs of life. Today might not have gone exactly as we planned, but it's a reminder that life is unpredictable and we have to cherish every moment. After the wedding, Nate and I had an amazing honeymoon in Italy, and it was the perfect way to unwind and enjoy each other's company. Living our best life, exploring the sights and devouring the delish Italian food, but the whole drama with Clarissa at the wedding still had me feeling down. I moved my stuff to Nate's place, but Clarissa was MIA. No calls, no texts, nada. My parents are mad at me for standing up to her and throwing her out of my wedding. Honestly, I had enough of Clarissa's toxic energy. Cutting her out of my life was the ultimate power move. I mean, how could she be so heartless? No apologies, nothing. No way was I going to forgive her for that mess. As for my parents, they better wake up and see that Clarissa's the one stirring up trouble. She needs to take responsibility for her actions. A week went by since we were back from Italy, and still nothing from the family. I'm standing tall and holding my ground. If they finally get it and show me some love, I'll consider talking things out. Until then, I'm focusing on my new life with Nate. Hi, how are you all? I'm Brenda. I'm currently 29 and will be 30 in 2 months. I have recently gotten out of a horrible experience related to my husband and his mother. I swear, I used to think that marriage is not that difficult to handle, but boy, was I wrong. Yes, I'm a strong girl since I managed. When I was unmarried, I had my life pretty well and sorted. I had a job as an assistant vet. My life was surrounded by pets, and to be honest, I loved being around them. I loved adventure. I had an old bike belonging to my father. I often took it out for a spin. If my dad didn't have much sentiment towards it, I would have taken it for myself. My dad raised me single-handedly and never made me feel like I didn't have a mom. He is an excellent father, and I'm really lucky to have him. I moved to Chicago where I got a job as an assistant caregiver to a veterinary clinic. It started very smoothly and I was picking on the process fast. I met John very unexpectedly. I was very late once and had to take a cab. The cab driver was handsomely single. He is the epitome of a charming boy-next-door trope. He had some bomb-ass features, especially his hair. It looked so soft and silky. He was my type. He was also too smooth with his words. "So, ma'am, where to?" His smile was radiant and he gave me a cheeky smirk now and then. Sometimes he would lock eyes with me through his mirror. I would blush, but I didn't give any unnecessary signs. "What's your name, if you don't mind telling me?" "Why do you want to know that? Want to take me out or something?" "I mean, I don't mind if you don't." Winks. "Please, you are not my type." "Ouch, that hurt. Well, how about being friends?" "Depends on how you are treating a lady." "I'm just messing around." "Okay then, deal. Do you like Italian? I have a great restaurant in my area. You would love it, I guarantee." "Are you serious about taking me out?" "Well, I love Italian. Sounds great." That day, I was highly energetic at work. My colleagues were very amazed by my grand gestures. There was usually this one dog that annoyed me a lot, but I managed to keep my calm even in that situation. Pauline, my go-to buddy, came skipping towards me. She then gripped my shoulders tightly and looked at me with a cheeky grin. "Girl, what's going on? Am I missing anything? Are you hiding something from me?" "Jesus, get a grip. You scared the shit out of me. Everything's good. I'm just really happy." "Yeah, sure. Is that the reason why you've been spacing out during the case discussion today? What's the source?" Well, I met a really cute cab driver today. His name is John. He offered to treat me to an Italian restaurant today." "Say what now? A cab driver? Bruh." Now, don't judge." "I mean, is he that cute?" "Yes, he is. If I get a snap of him, I'll send it to you. But you better not hit on him. He's mine." "Oh, please. I have eyes on someone else. He's pretty cute too." Winks. That evening, I was picked by John. He was smelling nice and looked so good. I was nervous and fidgety. I mean, it is my first time trying to find the man. He took me to a very beautiful place by a small lake. It was a cozy place and maybe not that posh, but the food was amazing. John's deep brown eyes, framed by thick, expressive eyebrows, are his most captivating feature. They are warm and inviting, radiating kindness and sincerity. When he smiles, his eyes light up, revealing a genuine and infectious joy that draws people towards him. Gosh, it was hard to fall for that smile. We stuffed ourselves with pasta and wine and ice cream. A wonderful evening. He gave me another offer. He said he would make me meet his mother since she would like me a lot. The way things were moving too fast should have been a dead giveaway that this all was a red flag. "So, you live with your dad?" "Not. Dad stays with my uncle in Michigan. He got this house long back for themselves, but then Mom left and he and I started to live. But you know, my dad's not a fan of staying in one place for long. He loves traveling. He owns a beautiful bike. It's old and all, but it's still sturdy to go on. He visits me sometimes, like currently he's here right now. He would leave in a week." "Wow, your dad sounds like a rock star, like a total biker badass. Would he even like me?" "That, again, depends on how you'd approach him. After all, he is the type of father who protects their daughter from a freaking fly, so. And he is wary of men around me. The last time I brought a guy to my place, he scared him off just from the door. That was some scene, I swear. The guy practically pissed his pants off." "Well then, how about we bet on it again? I mean, I won this time. You like the place and the food and me. So let's see if your dad likes me too. I put a bet on $20. I am winning the 20. You will not be able to win. I tell you, he is too difficult to impress. Oh, Brenda, you just don't know me yet. I am smooth Mr. Cool. I will impress your dad so hard, he would be bound to get us married. Just watch me. Okay, Mr. Confident. We quaked with laughter. I thought he was joking, but man, he was dead serious. When I returned home late, my dad was sitting right there looking very concerned. Yes, young lady, where were you? It is midnight. Oh, Dad, well, I was working overtime. There were a lot of clients and emergencies, so I had to stay back. I wasn't born yesterday, Brenda. Who is the man? Dad? There was no man. Please, you are overthinking. I was just with Pauline. I called Pauline. She said you were outside with a friend. Who was it? Okay, fine. He was just a friend, an old friend. He wanted to go out with me to chill, so I said yes, that's all. And how come I've never heard of this friend before? And why didn't you bother telling or at least calling me once? You know I'm worried about you, Bren. Sorry, Dad, I am. I would keep this in mind. He's a cab driver and he is a very sweet person, so please, you can relax. Why a cab driver? Ugh. All right, fine. Just next time, please inform your father. The next day at work, I jumped at Pauline. She was very startled at first, but then realized why I did that. Girl, why the hell did you tell my dad about John? Bruh, chill. I just said you were out with a friend, and why wouldn't I? What if that twat murdered you and dumped you somewhere? Oh, come on. He was so adorable and such a gentleman. I'll be meeting his mother soon, and mother? Hell no. You're going too fast. The first date doesn't determine anything. He could be a closet perv for all you know. You want to freaking bet on it? You will lose, since you're such an amazing judge of character. Don't even try. We exchanged numbers. He used to call me more than text. He'd say that he loved hearing my voice. He even gave me a proposal to visit his house, telling me that his mother was so eager to meet me. I was kind of scared because I was thinking about Pauline's words, and I felt that maybe I was going too fast. I wanted to take it slow and wanted to see how things worked with him first. I told him to keep seeing each other for the time being before his mom got involved. John was persistent, but gradually understood. We just got to know each other. And as much as I love hanging out with you, I'm still new to this and I want to get to know you properly first. You are adorable and I like you, but I want to like you more, you see? Okay, I get it. And I'm sorry. I don't know why, but I've never been this excited in my life. It's always fun to have you around. You know what? Me too. And I'm glad to have met you. I'm an outgoing girl, but not many guys catch my eye that often, so all of this is kind of new to me too. Aha! So you're saying that I managed to catch your attention? Are you admitting the fact that I'm different from the other guys you've met? Yes, of course. Jesus, saying it out loud makes it much more embarrassing than keeping it in my head. You are the only guy, I think, with whom I can be like myself. And I too feel the same, Brenda. We started to officially dating after 2 months of hanging out. He invited me to a baseball match. His friend was playing as a debutante in the team, and he requested both of us to pay a visit. John was sitting very close to me. He was making it so obvious that he was into me. When I locked eyes with him, he leaned in and planted a soft kiss. That was it. The spark to a forest fire. I was swooning at his charm. He had many friends. He would introduce me to them, and we would drink together and come home late. John would always escort me safely to my place. My dad was always keeping an eye on him every time he dropped me off. The last time he did, my dad stopped and told him to pay a visit for some dinner. Just the three of us. Well, John already made his way to my dad's heart. It is a rare occurrence that my dad invites anyone over to his place. I bet he's eager to win his $20, LOL. My dad and I arranged a nice steak party for John. We had fish, fries, a little bit of rice, and Japanese curry. To wash it all down, we had Chicago's finest red wine. It was a full feast, like a lot, for just 3 people. I wore my prettiest dress. It was his favorite color, violet. When he arrived, he was wearing a freaking tuxedo. He was looking so handsome, though. The 3 of us made proper acquaintances before we sat down to have our dinner. So, John, how long have you been in Chicago? 3 years, sir. I know the city like the back of my hand. Oh, really now? Impressive. And you are a cab driver? Yes, sir. Babe, talk about the time when you hitchhiked a creepy man. The one which was late at night. My dad loves these kinds of stories. Babe? No, Brenda, not yet. Not now. Dad, we're dating, I told you. Yes, I know, but I believe in family decorum. This is not yet welcome in my house. Brenda, your father's right. His house, his rules. You can always call me babe and darling, but not here, okay? That is a good man right there. Now, John, tell me about the story of the creepy man Brenda was talking about. After dinner, when John was about to leave. Well, babe, I guess I owe you $20, right? Oh, nah, I don't need it. I'm just glad I could prove that I'm a very suave gentleman. Look at you, so full of yourself. Bet you feel more cocky than ever. I love you, you know? I love you too. It has been a few months since John requested me to finally meet his mother. Now, I thought this was the proper time to do so. I remember how I stood nervously outside the door preparing myself to meet John's mother for the first time. A wave of anticipation washed over me. John had spoken so highly of his mother, Jackie, and I wanted nothing more than to make a good impression in front of her. I took a deep breath and knocked on the door, my heart pounding with every passing second. The door swung open, revealing a woman with a warm smile and kind eyes. She welcomed me inside with open arms, and I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of relief. It seemed like everything was going well, and I hoped this meeting would be the beginning of a beautiful relationship between us. Throughout the evening, Jackie showed genuine interest in getting to know me. She asked about my family, my hobbies, and my aspirations. I eagerly shared my stories, hoping to connect with her on a deeper level. As the night progressed, I started to feel more comfortable in her presence, cherishing the chance to bond with John's mother. But amidst the pleasant conversation and laughter, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Jackie's smile, though warm, seemed forced at times, and her gaze occasionally flickered with an unidentifiable emotion. I couldn't help but wonder what lay behind those eyes. As dinner came to an end, Jackie excused herself from the table, leaving John and me alone for a moment. I turned to John, my eyes filled with curiosity and concern. Do you think your mother likes me? There's something off about everything, and I can't quite put my finger on it. He excused himself too. After 20 minutes of sitting in absolute silence, they both came in with a plate of desserts. You know, Brenda, It has been a long time since I met someone as wonderful as you. My son is extremely lucky to have found you. He always had an eye for the good stuff. I mean, I won't deny it, he does find his way into people's hearts. He gets me too. You have raised your son well. So, have you guys thought of marriage yet? Did my boy pop the question? I choked so hard on my cupcake. It took me a while to get it out of my windpipe. John glared at his mother. I don't know whether that was out of anger or embarrassment. What? What? Did I say something wrong? I thought he already did it. Baby, were you going to propose to me? Thanks, Mom. It was true that John wanted to propose, and when we went to our next date, he popped the question. I said yes, because I was charmed by this man. The wedding was simple and calm. The reception took place in a small hotel because we didn't want John to waste too much money on these things. I was glad enough to get him as my husband. Jackie was present throughout, but she was silent. That stone-cold expression returned on her face. Her mind was probably bubbling with thoughts that I would never know. She seemed very half-hearted. I mean, I would have empathized with her if she was feeling sad that her son has grown up and was getting married. But I couldn't even empathize with her after the stunt she pulled off. John moved in with me to my house. My dad already headed back to my uncle's. He said he would visit soon. John and I more or less settled down well. We made some changes together. John turned our bedroom into his dream room. I don't mind much because I'm not picky about decor. I got to arrange the living room and a bit of the kitchen. Pauline visited us shortly after getting married. She was extremely ill, so she couldn't come before. It was nice to have her and John get to know each other. Everything felt perfect until things started missing from my house. What do you mean, missing? First it started with my accessories, then my favorite jacket. That was a costly one too. Small things are disappearing now and then. Okay, that's weird. Did you talk to John about this? I did. He kept saying, I probably misplaced it. I mean, help me look for it, but he wasn't too keen. Should I come over and help you out? I am your good luck charm after all. It's all right. I'll deal with it just fine. I probably did misplace it. After all, I cleaned the whole freaking closet. This still didn't give me much assurance as things kept disappearing into thin air. I would often think about it at my workplace. This went on for a year, especially when John and I went on our honeymoon. I returned to a trashed house, like someone entered and they made a huge mess. There were beer bottles, unwashed dishes, and smelly clothes. I thought it was my dad since he is the only one with spare keys, but when I called him, he said that he was still at my uncle's. I didn't fill in any details because I didn't want him to get worried. I thought maybe John and I could somehow solve this issue. One day, I finished work early. At the door, when I was taking out my keys, I was somewhat feeling uneasy, like a feeling of danger washed over me. I put the keys in, but the door was not fully locked. I went inside, tiptoed, not making a single sound. It was another house intrusion. I could hear sounds from the bedroom. I took hold of an umbrella that was kept at the corner and slowly made my way to the sound. I peeked through the corner, and to my astonishment, it was Jackie. She was trashing my entire closet, even wearing my favorite jacket. The moment a yelp of protest came out of my mouth, she turned towards me. There you are, the woman who bewitched my son. Do you think you can get away with this? What on earth? How the hell did you get in here? She suddenly lunged at me while yelling. This is my son's house, not yours, you filthy vermin. These are all mine, my things. You don't even deserve this life. The first time I saw those eyes, I saw nothing but filth. She grabbed my hair tightly. I was so scared and hurt. My hands automatically lifted themselves. The umbrella came down on her head. It was not a massive blow, thank goodness, but enough to knock her out. I called the cops and John. Jackie confessed to her misguided intentions, tearfully admitting that her actions stemmed from a deep-seated fear of losing her son. She apologized profusely, recognizing the pain she had caused in our relationship and the violation of our privacy. Her love for John had driven her to desperate measures, but she now understood the gravity of her actions. She was okay and handcuffed. I showed her and the cops my property papers as proof that I was not the crazy one there. The cops found Jackie guilty of intrusion and theft. They also gave me a warning to use weapons carefully on people. John sighed, his face filled with a mix of regret and sadness. Brenda, it's complicated. Jackie has always been overprotective and she couldn't let go of me when we got married. She had this misguided belief that she needed to protect me at all costs, even if it meant crossing boundaries. And you? Are you a child, John? Don't you have any sense of right and wrong? I'm sorry, Brenda. I didn't think this would go that far. The fact that your mother was so sweet and sugar is sickening. Her real intentions were hidden by that pretty smile of hers. I can't take this anymore. While forgiveness wasn't immediate, I recognized that Jackie's remorse and John's stupidity were genuine. We understood that her love for her son had clouded her judgment, and we hoped that with time and healing, we could rebuild the trust that had been shattered. In the following months, we took steps to ensure our home's security and protect our privacy. We changed the locks, implemented a security system, and established clear boundaries with Jackie. I was very much troubled and heartbroken by John's betrayal. I needed some space. I told him that we need to split for a while and that I need to think again with a clear head. John was understanding enough to lend me that. I gave him no access to my place, at least for the time being. My dad came and temporarily moved in till things were less tense. Jackie was in jail for a while. She would be released soon. She too was not allowed to access my life. Well, currently I'm still healing. Things will get better eventually. John has to prove more than he should if he wants to get back in my life.